Troglodyte warning. Since Trump won the election last November, the billionaires have all bent the knee, kissed the ring of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Bezos, and now Mark Zuckerberg. He's going to change some key TOS terms on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. And this is going to have a big impact on discourse and public information over the next few years. So let's get straight into the video.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago.
Wasn't Facebook started out as Face Swap, and it was basically about, judging if girls were hot or something? So come on, Mark, let's not pretend you care about communication and truth, and you're in it for the money. You're trying to create clicks and get people addicted to your platforms.
About the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation.
Again, he has to go to the extremes. The fact that there is clear causation between mental health and social media use in young people is clear, but he doesn't want to talk about that harm. He has to go to, drugs, terrorism. And also conflating censorship with terms of service that focus on cracking down on misinformation, fake news, lies. That is a big problem we face. Potentially one of the biggest threats of a democracy, because democracy is predicated on an informed, educated populace, where there has to be a baseline of facts. When that kind of line is kind of just cut, what becomes true and what becomes false? That's why we see such a massive distrust in institutions, because people are being told one thing and then they're being told the complete opposite by some YouTuber. And it's like, what do you believe? And this is just going to perpetuate, exacerbate, and make this problem 1,000 times worse.
These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots.
Again, prioritizing speech. Very important. He's not saying facts, truth, data, evidence. Speech. So anything goes. You can lie, you can spread information that is false, distorted, and that's the world we live in now. It's insane.
Focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
And how has that gone with Twitter and X? Massively lost 84% of its revenue due to the toxic far-right ideology. And that's what this is who this favors. Like I suppose free speech just means a free speech to say whatever you want and not be held accountable for lies and misinformation. That's what it means. So it's very euphemistic use of censorship and free speech. It just means that the far right can just spread their lies and misinformation about immigrants and trans people. That's it.
Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy.
Because it is. It is the biggest threat to democracy. That's the biggest threat we face.
Tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created.
See, he's making an admission there that the fact that people on the right are more likely to lie and spread misinformation. So it's kind of like when you fact check, there is a natural bias against the right because, again, as we know, Donald Trump lied over 30,000 times in his first term. He can't stop lying. So Yes, now he has to bend the knee to Trump and say, yes, yes, sir, you can lie all you want, sir. We won't fact check you. JD Vance did the same. He only did the vice president debate with Tim Walz because they weren't going to be fact checked. And he even said it about the lies about the Haitians in Ohio Springfield. They're eating the cats and dogs. He knew it wasn't true. He said it wasn't true. But it draws attention to his political project. They know exactly what they're doing. So does Mark Zuckerberg. But he doesn't care because he aligns with capital. So he, supported Biden last time. Now he supports with Donald Trump. And he'll go wherever the money goes. And he doesn't want to be regulated. He just, again, he has no values. He has no values. He'll just do whatever, increases the shareholder value of Facebook. That's all that matters to him.
Especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are...
And again, who does that favor? The right. You can just spread information, misinformation about trans people, immigrants, distort facts, statistics, just fabricate data, and that's fine, but you won't be fact-checked. This is incredibly dangerous because, again, it's the immigrants, the trans people who will get affected by this. And again, so disinformation, misinformation. We don't have a functioning democracy at this point.
Just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started...
Not really. Not really. It's a very small minority who are radicalized against trans people and immigrants. So actually, most people aren't bothered about trans people, and they're just trying to live their lives. So this is not true, Mark.
As a movement to be more inclusive, has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone...
No, it's been used to shut down misinformation. We can have a debate, but it has to be based on facts and evidence. That's how science works. Your opinions, feelings don't matter unless it's based on empirical data. And that's the difference between this debate. You have people on the right spreading misinformation about trans people, bathrooms, whatever, and then the psychiatric, the sociological data about trans people, that they're valid, they're no more likely to cause harm than the population generally. So, no, we need a fact-based discourse here. That's the most important thing. Empirics, Western values of Enlightenment, values of rationality, empirical evidence.
Too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal...
Again, the idea that terms of service is censorship. Like, what, so you should just spread hate and misinformation, racism, misogyny. That's fair game. Like, hatred isn't good, like, for anybody. So, again, a free-for-all is really... Again, this idea that free speech absolutism is great. Like, it's the most important thing in free speech. Like, above hatred, above misinformation. It's really dangerous because it allows a lot of really bad tendencies that favor the right and the far right and Elon Musk.
And high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down.
Again, this seems to me like a lose-lose situation. So you're potentially having more misinformation, lies spread, unchecked, and then you're not catching the bad stuff. And there is potentially really bad stuff on Facebook that, certain things are shared that should not be shared. So it's just going to make the platform worse.
Fourth, We're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear politics. I mean, I'm a political channel, and people are sick of politics. They just want to live their lives. They don't want trans people and immigrants constantly just being bashed. They want to actually real policies that improve people's lives.
To get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive.
There will be no friendly and positive interactions with this. Again, when you just let far-right misinformation proliferate on your platform, it's not going to be friendly and positive. It's going to be hateful. It's going to be misinformation, smears, anti-trans, anti-immigrant sentiment. And you're going to see what happened to Twitter happen on Facebook. And I just hope people leave. I just really do hope people abandon it and just realize, actually, this isn't for me. What is new? What's better than Facebook?
Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression.
So again, a signal to Trump. He's doing what Elon Musk did, move his project from California to Texas for tax purposes, and also to signal that, I'm genuflecting, I'm bending the knee to Donald Trump, and I'm on your side, guys.
I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
There's always going to be bias. It's impossible. You can have a public platform that talks about politics. Now the bias is going to be heavily weighed to the right, and even far right stuff when you're talking about anti-trans, anti-immigrant. So don't act like you don't have a bias. You have a bias to Donald Trump and his administration and MAGA.
Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there.
Such euphemism, no. We're trying to protect children from social media and the harms it causes to mental health. Again, misinformation, proliferation of lies in a post-truth world. How do you deal with this? There has to be some intervention. You can't just let Facebook just, anything goes, just say whatever you want. No accountability, no fact-checking, no. This really does undermine democracy at every level.
Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened us.
Yeah, again, euphemistic, going after us. What? Because you want a certain level of standard accountability of tech companies? Because they haven't. They've literally been left, Google, Facebook, they've just been left to do whatever they want. But I'm sorry, there has to be some oversight of these companies because they are so powerful, especially for our public discourse. The amount of misinformation that will be spread from these changes is going to be catastrophic for democracy. So the idea that, they're coming after us. I'm sorry, there will have to be a crackdown at some point because facts and truth and evidence do matter, Mark.
Other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
So, if you want to challenge the misinformation machine that chugs on with figures like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the far-right media, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.